challenge was more so now dealing with the aftermath. And in our area, it's still technically 10 people. So how is it in Detroit, right?
Right. It's we are right now, it's confusing because I always think, okay, are we at 50 or are we at 25? So it depends on the space. It's what, 10 people for every 1,000 square foot, something like that.
Okay.
Or 20% of the capacity. Just it's so hard to it's just so hard to keep up with all the different changes, and the governor comes on TV twice a week, and I'm just like, just somebody tell me what it is.
What's going on? Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's definitely been challenging here with that for sure.
Yeah, it is. So I'm not going to keep you long. I really wanted to. I loved your idea with the micro weddings and how you put together that package. So I really want to center the conversation about micro weddings and the fact that I and a lot of other industry professionals feel like micro weddings might be around for a little bit, not just right. So during COVID. So I'm just going to do a brief intro.
Okay.
Like, welcome to the guest chair. And then I'm going to give you opportunity to just introduce Be Astonished Events, how you came up with the name, how long you've been in business. And then we'll segue into micro weddings and just let it flow from there.
Okay, no problem.
All righty. So you good with your background is great. So seriously.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
You're okay with it?
I'm fine with it. I'm fine.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, and you can hear me. Obviously, you can hear me okay. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Lori Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast. And I'm excited to welcome a wedding industry professional, but most importantly, my soror, Melissa from the DMV area from Be Astonished Events. And she is on today after she gives you a little background of her company. We are going to tackle the topic of micro weddings. And even though micro weddings came about as a result of the pandemic, we really feel in the industry that micro weddings might be around longer than the pandemic. But before that, let's meet Melissa of Be Astonished Events. So welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Melissa Williams. I am the owner and co-founder of Be Astonished Events. Be Astonished Events is a premier full service luxury event planning and wedding and design company in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We service both domestically and internationally. Be Astonished has been around for 7 years. So when I first started the business, I actually started, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually started it with two of my best friends. So it was three of us. Over the years, one of my best friends realized event planning is a lot. So I'll just, help you out when needed. And then my business partner, D'Angela Boone, who now is Miss Calder, a lot of people know as being a part of the Astonished event. She recently stepped down to do a lot of the marketing and the just day of the wedding. So here I am leading and the owner and CEO, founder of the Astonished events. And I have a full team, 7 of us, and really enjoy what I do. And I'm looking forward to discussing micro weddings today with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you've mentioned my favorite number twice. So I know this is meant to be 7 is just I got the tattoo 7.
Oh, wow.
So 7 years. Congratulations.
Thank
and then
you.
17 members. That is awesome. And I know I just on
7 members.
17 members, right?
7.
7. Yeah.
7.
Awesome. I know that I had reached out to you and just asking on how you built your team. And you said many of them were obviously people you already knew. It wasn't like you had to do a formal job hunt. So that's awesome that you have them committed the way you do, your team members.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and we'll give everybody your Instagram at the end because I just am inspired by all that you're doing. During the season, prior to this season, we met at Signature CEO back in, was it 2018?
18? Has it been that long?
19?
2019, maybe?
I think it was 2019. 2019, because 2020 it was virtual.
Yes.
Right. So it's 2019. Yep. So 2019. So let's talk micro weddings. And one of the things that you did was you put together a group of industry professionals. I don't like calling them vendors. And you created a micro wedding package, if you will. for those brides who still felt hashtag love isn't canceled and wanted to go through with their big day last year. So tell me how that all came about.
Yes, so it came about. I had a couple who was subject to get married on April 25th, 2020. And come March, I think that's when the pandemic really started becoming about. I think we knew something February, but come March, we had to make that decision to postpone their wedding, which was very tough for that couple. It was a small, intimate wedding in itself. It was actually only supposed to be like 60 guests, so still almost micro, a little more,
Sure.
but it was supposed to be 60 guests. But unfortunately, due to 75% of their guests living out of town, we had to postpone. The bride really wanted to still get married because at the end of the day, she felt like marriage and the commitment to getting married is what was most important. So what came about was her photographer that she hired for the wedding actually lived out of town. So with from that, I was like, okay, well, we need to hire all industry professionals within the DC area, to make this happen for you. So that's what we did. So I partnered with Terry Baskin Photography, Veronica from Pretty Petal Florals and Event Design, Blair Williams Productions, who's my husband, who did video. And then I also partnered with a few other vendors, so officiants, makeup artists, Markia, Glam Q, and then we also partnered with Jenny Baked It, who did the cakes for us. So we all kind of came together after, to be honest, it was the wedding that got so much recognition. It was featured in the Washingtonian, Essence, and other local articles that made me think, hey, this actually is a thing, and it may be a thing because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. So all the vendor partners got together with me, and we created this package to pretty much, help couples still have their day, but in a nice fashion style. So one of the things that was important to me during the micro weddings was, whether your wedding was intimate, small, whether it's 2 people, 10 people, 15 people, I felt like you should still do a really nice event. So each of our event was very special. It was different. We had floral arches, we had tables, table settings, we had nice like backdrops. So we did a lot of different type of setups with the micro weddings, and it was very successful. We actually did about 15 through that package. So it was definitely really nice. And actually, one of the things that probably resonated with me the most was in that 15, probably about 4 of them were all family members. So the first couple came to us, and the parents were very impressed. And next thing you know, her sister got married during that time. Then the best friend got married during that time. So it was definitely I got to meet people that I wouldn't have been able to meet without the pandemic occurring. So it's something that I will always cherish. And we're currently not doing the package anymore, but I am still producing, micro weddings.
Got it. Okay. Now, did I hear, was a venue a part of that? Was it always at the same venue or you had several venues?
So we did several venues. So great question. The reason why I did not include a venue in the package is because I'm all about creating unique experiences for my couples and making each wedding, different and unique to that couple. So I didn't want to tie down every couple to the same venue where every wedding ended up looking the same. So we did it to where I would plan accordingly. So if you told me, hey, I have 10 guests and I want this style for my micro wedding, well, the Conrad may not have been the hotel for every single guest. It may have been, another venue that we worked at. So and actually when we created the package, a lot of venues were not open. So
Mm.
I actually didn't have the mindset of thinking of including venues until venues started opening. When we first did the very first one, before the package came about, the April 25th wedding, we actually did that outside in the public. So in
Wow.
DC.
Okay.
So when we created the package, it wasn't a thought like, oh, what venues can we include? Because at the time, no venues were open. And then
Hmm.
it wasn't until we created the package and we had our first wedding on Juneteenth that, wedding venues started to open. And then that gave us, the flexibility to, hop around from, DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
So how does one, you're not doing the packages anymore, probably because now things are a little bit more open and you don't need to, or just there was just no
Um,
demand?
there was definitely a demand for it. I still got inquiries for it. It was more so also time. A
Okay.
lot of us, came together in creating a very special price package for clients. And,
Hmm.
with the amount of time that we actually put into it, I did feel like at a lot of times, I almost felt like I was working a wedding day. So, as it grew, to be honest, the package grew. So our Just the Two of Us is what is the original name that most people know it for. It grew into something called the Exclusive Affair. And the Exclusive Affair was leads into when on October 10th, 2020, we led three of them in one day, all at the same venue. And so, yeah, which was a phenomenal experience. I never would have thought I did something like that, but I look back on it and it was worth every penny. It was really nice to see all the couples, but it was a lot of work. So, just thinking about all of those different details, and our exclusive affair included a bit more. So it included planning the reception for the clients or planning like a nice table setting or a table, like a pretty backdrop. So even more than just like, oh, a 15-minute ceremony with some cake, champagne, and some photos. So it included more of giving your guests that full experience that they would almost get on a wedding day. So it just became a lot of work. And now I'm in a space where I'm dealing with, the 12 postponements I had from last year to this year on top of my current booked 2021 bride. So that's kind of why we kind of just ended it, but it was definitely well worth it. It was an experience that I will never forget and, really resonate with me.
Absolutely. So what was the guest count for the micro weddings? Because
So
obviously Michigan different from DMV. So
So we did up to 10 guests.
10. Okay.
And it so this was the thing. We did up to 10 guests, but depending on the space, I may have been flexible and allowed, the client to have, let's say 15 guests. But 15 guests was my max for that package deal because it was relatively a good price. But it just depended because with us, we live in a market where we have DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
Hmm.
At that time, Virginia was more open. So you could have like a 50 guest wedding, or I even held an 100 guest wedding in August. And then, DC was no more than 50 guests. Whereas like Maryland was, really tight.
That's right, because you do weddings really all over that whole DMV
The whole DMV
concept.
area.
Yes.
So
So
it's a lot to keep up with. And even
I
right now, like,
bet.
trying to, realize like right now, our current regulations are 10 guests max, and that's in DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
Mm.
So hopefully, all of us planners in this area are hoping, that guidelines can loosen up. So
Is that indoors or outdoors?
indoors.
That's indoors. So what about outdoors?
So outdoors for Virginia, I believe is currently at 25 for gatherings.
Hmm.
But with most of the venues, like for a full wedding at least, either whether you're having your ceremony outdoors, your reception is probably indoors or vice versa. So yeah, so that's what we're kind of dealing with right now.
Got it. So what aspects of a micro wedding for those that are in different states would you recommend? I mean, for sure the lower guest count, right? But what are some other aspects? I know you mentioned that you were able to create some specific guest experiences even with the
Yeah.
smaller groups, but can you give us any of those details or
Yes.
ideas?
So we did a couple of different things. I think live stream became very a big deal this year. Blair Williams Productions not only offered like intimate videos of like 60-second videos, but he also did live stream for our couple. So it was really kind of cool. Like looking back on all the live streams from the wedding, some had 700 views, some had
Wow.
200 views. So it just really like it was so special to me to see that they're even if their family could not be there in person, they were able to celebrate from afar. So I would say live stream was definitely a very important aspect. We also did we offered like cutting your first slice of cake and your champagne toast. I did get customized champagne flutes for all of my clients to have and to keep for a keepsake. A lot of our micro weddings we actually did we worked with Dami. who's a stationery designer based out of New York. And she did a lot of custom stationery for our clients so they could have that invitation keepsake as well. So even though it may not have been their dream wedding of 100 guests, they still had all the same details, the same flat lay photos that you would get on a wedding day. So we tried to still incorporate things that would happen on a wedding, that could, happen into the micro weddings. And then I think my favorite part, honestly, was um, like when clients started doing like the tablescape. So like 10, 10, 20, we made it a whole experience. So we had all the clients, like we had 3 brides that day. So they were all getting ready. It was at the Conrad Hotel in Washington, D.C. And what we did was we did a really dramatic, like arch backdrop set, but then each ceremony was special and related to that couple. So our first couple really was into like black and white decor. So we made sure, they had custom welcome signs for their weddings, things that you would see at a full wedding day. We made sure that, the chairs were black, it was full of greenery and white. But then the next bride actually is from Mexico. So she's Mexican, and she wanted her flags to hang in the tree. So that was really cool because it made her ceremony just so much different from the others. But even though she had the same backdrop, her chairs were different. She had gold chairs. So we just made everything so special to that couple. And then I incorporated my gift to each client that day was a customized sweetheart table. So I got their name plates and, everyone had different linens, different chargers, different flowers. So just to really make a full album experience for all those couples that invested into that. So any wedding, micro wedding we had, I found ways to, just give them that still experience that, they can show their kids one day.
Absolutely, because that's the biggest thing is they still want the experience if their
Yes,
guests can't be there. Awesome.
absolutely.
Wow. That sounds really well. I saw a lot of it online too.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah, very awesome. Very awesome. So just in general for a couple, we're just kind of still coming out of engagement season. For those couples who are just starting wedding planning as an industry professional, what's some great advice you can give a couple who's watching as they begin their wedding planning journey? Mhm.
I would say patience is key. Right now, during the time of still living within the pandemic, I get a lot of couples that, come to me that ask, like, hey, do you think it's smart to start planning my wedding right now? Or should
Mm,
I wait until 2022? And, I think to me, the most important thing is about the marriage. So I never tell a couple like, yeah, just wait. I tell them to start planning as if, there was not a pandemic, but just knowing in the back of your mind that you still need to follow safety protocols. You still need to make sure whatever you're planning, like right now, planning a wedding for 300 guests may not be smart. So, if that is what you want, then that is something that may have to wait. Maybe, find ways to make your day special and intimate, and by still following the guidelines and where you're looking to get married at. So that would be my biggest advice, is just have patience and hire a planner, for sure. And not because I am a planner, but just because a planner can really help you ease your way through this process. And I've talked to several planners who have clients that may have booked them for, a month of service, and they're not technically assisting them with the postponements, and the brides are stressed calling them asking them for help, but that's not necessarily the package they book. So I highly encourage, couples to definitely consider hiring a planner, or a professional planner that can help you, get through this, because it's not easy right now.
mhm.
It's probably one of the toughest times for a lot of businesses, just figuring things out still. So
Yes, yes.
hiring a professional, and a professional, not just a planner, professional vendor team all around. So that's one of the biggest things I preach normally. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this was so informative for me. I haven't done a micro wedding, even though I think one of my weddings coming up might end up being.
Oh
But
yay.
but I'm praying it's not, because it's not what they want. They have around 130 guests. So we are just staying prayerful and hopeful that this pandemic is just slowing down. So thank you for sharing all of that helpful information. And for those who want to reach out to you after hearing or viewing this episode, if you could provide all your contact info, website, social media.
Yes, of course. So my website is www.beastonishedevents.com. On Instagram, you can find me at Be Astonished Events. And I am also on Clubhouse under Be Astonished Events as well.
Yeah, Clubhouse is getting very popular, right?
It is. It is. I haven't hosted anything yet. I'm a little shy, but I plan on doing something soon.
Yeah, there's some great discussions that I've been jumping in on, and I'm like, I'm doing the podcast. So I don't know if I'm gonna host a room, but I've been really enjoying. I attended some conference last week, so. But yeah, thank you so much. I love the name. Be Astonished. That is. Did we
Thank
talk?
you.
Did we talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
how you even got that name?
So it's funny. Everybody asked how it came about. So the
Yes.
letter, you know how in the beginning I talked about how I started it with my three best friends, or two best friends. Well, all three of us at the time, our maiden names were started with the letter B. So that's actually
Oh.
how it came about. So that's where the B came. My maiden name is Beck, and then it was Boone and Bolding. So that's how it all came about. So and then we were just like, oh, Be Astonished. So it was actually really easy to come about. But yeah, that's how we came about with it.
I love it. And for those who aren't following you yet, you've got to follow our Instagram and you will be astonished.
Oh,
So
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. You're not
Thank you for
shy.
having me.
Yes. No, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. It's getting to be busy. So I appreciate your time and for all that you shared. And for those who are listening or watching, please make sure to follow us at Before the Big Day Podcast on Instagram, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel Before the Big Day Podcast. And until next time, be well. So your episode's coming out this Wednesday. So
Oh, awesome. Oh, you're quick.
yeah. I've got a little production schedule where I can batch record on Mondays and then just line them up to just post. So I'm actually interviewing Terry later today. So
Oh,
I'm so
yeah.
excited.
Oh,
I
yay.
love her. I love
Yeah.
her.
She's amazing. Terry is so that's my girl. We're like this. So